But if you haven't been checking out our shorts, please go check. That sounds so goofy.
What is going on, guys? My name is Kellen Popineau. Welcome to the Popineau Brothers. Tonight we have something kind of similar to what we did last week, getting to know. But today we're going to take a look at actually getting to know my best friend, my brother. Yeah, come on.
This is off to a great start already.
I love this guy. Like, honestly, if I have a day off, I want to hang out with my brother.
Oh.
So we're just going to kind of talk and ask some different questions here as I adjust my mic so I can actually look at you and people can hear me.
I'm trying to figure out how to make mine do the thing I want it to do. And I'm busy touching it while it's recording. I'm sorry.
No worries. So why not tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, what do you do? What do you love? What's up?
I am a pastor by day. I am a family guy. I love my family. I guess I've been a pastor for, I want to say this is my 15th year.
Seriously,
Yeah.
that long? Jeez.
Yeah, I think this is year 14 or 15 for me, and I love what I do. I love pastoring people. I love being able to share the word of God with people on a regular basis. I mean, for 12 of those years, I was a worship pastor, so I got to play music and take care of the production aspect of the service. But a couple of years ago, my wife Brittany and I planted a church in Tustin, California called Legacy Church. And it's been a wild journey, planting a couple of weeks before COVID hit was fantastic timing. But I do love my family. So speaking of Brittany, I'm married to the most beautiful woman on the planet. And we have the most adorable little kid on the planet as well in Levi. He's awesome. He's 3.5 years old. He'll be 4 coming up here soon. And I love spending time with my family. They're just incredible. Now, I'm lucky enough to live next to all of my siblings and my parents. And so we're super grateful to have all of you guys around. It's been really cool knowing that we get to raise Levi around family and with family values. And yeah, it's special.
Okay, so you've been a pastor now for 14 years. First of all, congratulations for making it that long.
Yeah.
What kind of sparked the call in you to get into ministry and that sort of thing?
I think having my dad was a pastor. Both sets of my grandparents were in the ministry. My mom has been in the ministry all of her life. So just kind of, without it sounding like it's the family business, I went into the family business, and I'm super grateful for the legacy that God's let me be a part of, and so I'm honored to carry on that mantle. But also, I think there were just a couple of moments in life where I had distinct words from God where He said, "You're going to be in ministry. You're going to plant the church. You're going to lead worship." And
okay,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so coming with the worldview of Christianity, having the background of being a pastor, having a love of...
I'm sorry.
No, we're good. So with all these different background elements coming in, how do you feel that has influenced your deep-hearted desire to be a provider, to be a protector, to be a defender, not just of your family, but of those around you? How do you see those two worlds maybe colliding?
I mean, when I married Brittany, we had vows, and one of my vows was to protect her and to always point her towards Jesus. And I don't see those things as being exclusive.
Okay.
I think those are one and the same. I'm protecting her heart by pointing her to Jesus. I'm protecting my family's legacy by pointing them to Jesus. But I also have a human responsibility, not just a spiritual responsibility, but a physical responsibility to protect my wife.
Right.
From anything or anyone. And so, I mean, that obviously carries over to our children too. So, I take care of Levi and I take care of Brittany because that's something that matters to me. Because I think, I don't know that there would be a specific biblical reference to this, except that I was told to love others like I love myself. And I don't see love as being exclusive to just doing the nice things or the good things. I think it's also protect others as you would protect yourself.
Yeah.
Provide for others the way you would provide for yourself.
I even think there is kind of not necessarily a biblical, just like straight up one verse that you can reference, like chapter verse, but throughout the Bible, we see God being like aggressively protective towards the people of Israel. And then in the New Testament, the people who call Jesus Christ their Lord and Savior, like he is aggressive about protecting them. Now, he's also aggressive about making sure that they're in line. And you kind of touched on that as well with like, hey, I want to love Brittany rightly. I want to guard her heart. I want to point her towards Jesus. And at the same time, I want to be aggressive about making sure that she's safe.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we as males, born male, identify as male. I think we as males...
As opposed to what?
Yeah, I think we as males have a responsibility to protect, and it is a God-given responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? He put the man, and I don't mean like the man in charge of, but he says, I guess I do mean that. He put the man as the priest of the home. It means the man goes first. The man has to lay down his life first. The man has to give up what he wants first. It's not just the man is at the top and everybody else serves him. It is the man is at the bottom because he comes first. He's the foundation and everything is built on him. And that way, when he's solid, the house is solid. When he's solid, the family's solid. When he cares for the needs of his family, the family functions well.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for my family, and that's what I believe in, and that's what we preach. And I mean, even in any kind of Bible study or discipleship program that you go through at our church, like that's the way we lay things out is, man, we've got to step up. We've got to be the head of our house, and not just so that we get all the accolades and all the clout. It's so that we actually get to then lay our lives down first. We lay our desires down, our will down, for the betterment of our family first.
Absolutely. And that's a high responsibility. I mean, like if you look at Ephesians chapter 5, for example, when Paul is kind of laying out the dynamic between, wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands, and then, husbands love your wives in the same way that Christ loved the church. There's only 3 verses that are given to women, followed up by 9 verses that are given to men. So it's a very high responsibility for us to be the priests of our household, for us to be the protectors of our household.
But I don't want that to sound like we are this male chauvinist.
Not by any means.
Generation, no. or we just think that women are less than. In fact, I believe that women are to be like praised. Women are to be prized and cherished, and I want to do that for my wife.
And if you're not loving them, if you're not praising them, I would argue you're not loving them the way that Jesus called us to.
Right.
Okay, so switching gears maybe a little bit. So we've talked about kind of your background in church and all that. Let's talk about like firearms and whatnot. You've obviously been involved in that world a lot longer than I have. You have a lot more knowledge than I have. Now, we have different tastes.
Yeah.
But where did some of this come from?
I don't know where it started. I guess I do know where it started. I remember as young as, I want to say like 4-ish years old. Pardon me. I want to say as young as 4 years old, my dad took me out. Our dad.
I know that guy.
Took me out to the backyard and shot BB guns with me.
Oh, yeah, like the little Coke cans.
We'd shoot Coke cans. Yeah. And then, I don't know if I'm going to get canceled for this, but we used to shoot, we had this like plum tree out in the backyard. We lived on like 2 acres, and it was a barn that was converted into a home. And if you walked out the back porch, there was a plum tree, and we had goats. And the goats would like to climb up the tree or climb up the fence and like eat the plums. Oh, really? And so we would sit on the back porch and shoot the goats with BB guns. And like it didn't hurt them. It'd bounce off, but like it just got their attention. And I don't know, somewhere between shooting at a Coke can and shooting at a goat with a BB gun, like I just got hooked. And ever since then, I have loved guns. I have loved the camaraderie. I have loved the sport. I have loved the chase, the pursuit. I have loved everything about like trying to get better, right? Because I'm not great. Like I have enjoyed firearms for most of my life, but I'm still nowhere near like a really good shooter.
All right.
Like I can hit the target, but
He can hit some impressive targets.
I can hit the target, but I'm nowhere near anything like a competition shooter or anything.
Okay, man. I mean, that's fine. Like, I don't think everyone needs to be that caliber,
Right.
LOL, of a shooter to be effective.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. So moving forward from there, like you were raised around like non-lethal firearms. You loved shooting them in the backyard. Talk to me a little bit about the progression into like, actually getting into hunting.
So I had a buddy, his name is Joe, and Joe's dad, Daryl, took Joe and I fishing all the time. We were a part of a group together called Royal Rangers, and we'd go camping, and there was something about being out in nature and like cooking your own food. And I realized like, I'm talking about cooking our own food. We cooked hot dogs. Like occasionally Daryl would bring a steak, but like there was this enjoyment of the process of like, I've got to go and dig out our campsite out of the snow and then pitch a tent, and then we're going to go on a hike, and then we're going to come back and we're going to cook over an open flame. Like, oh, it was so stinking cool. And then the natural progression was then to study, where did the meat come from? Mm-hmm. And so in Royal Rangers, they just took us through that. And then Daryl and Joe took me skeet shooting one time.
Oh, wow.
And it was like my first interaction with like, well, one of the first remembered interactions with a real firearm. And I remember just loving it because
awesome.
It was moving. And then that kind of led into the hunting world as well, because then it was like, I want to shoot something that's moving. I want the chase. I want there to be an actual like pursuit.
Right.
But as I've gotten older, I think I like the camaraderie a lot. I really enjoy the outdoors. I enjoy getting to eat something that I shot. I know that that's not super PC for people, but like there's just something about smoking your own meat that you took care of yourself. It's cool.
I was actually talking with a couple colleagues of mine, and they maybe land left of center, so they're not huge on like hunting, firearms, and that sort of thing. But we were talking about hunting and like, are you okay with it and all this different stuff? And what I found is, even people who are left of center are fine with hunting as long as we're being a good steward of and the environment and the things that we shoot. Like if we're shooting things to kill them just for the sake of killing them and having that adrenaline rush, there's a morality question there. Sure.
Yeah. Well, people don't realize that the largest conservation effort comes from hunters.
Absolutely.
Like we put billions in every single year. By the way, we draw for tags. We pay for our licenses and stuff like that, thanks to the Pittman-Robertson Act. Like, we pay a ton of money to help preserve the land and the animals and the habitat and their food sources and all of that. We pay attention to everything so that we have more next year.
Absolutely. And another aspect to it, they allow a certain amount of hunting and certain seasons of hunting because it prevents overpopulation of one specific species. And if that one specific species overpopulates, it kills off a lot of the other species that are in that same ecosystem. So it is kind of a balancing out of the life of the ecosystem and perpetuating that. So I love that.
Yeah, I'm huge into it. I wanted to go, I had a couple of hunts planned this year, and some of them fell through, but I got to go out a couple of times, and I really enjoyed it. We did some dove hunting, and that is always like so much fun. This next year, I'd like to get out and do some deer hunting. I'd like to get out and do some duck hunting, and then I'm going to start putting in some tags because, like I said, I'm still new to some of this. I've stored up no preference points, and so I've got to start putting in some preference points for things like, elk and antelope and things like that. I want a bison really bad.
Dude.
I've got to save up a long time for that.
Yeah. How much is a tag for a bison?
I have no idea.
Oh, interesting.
The tag is not the expensive part.
It's the trip.
It's the trip.
Frick. Dang. All right. So we talked about the hunting side of things. Let's talk about the protector side of things. So you've recently gone through the process of, the concealed carry permit here in California, and you've been approved and all that different stuff. Talk to me a little bit about the training that you had to go through, not only in the actual process, but prior to that, like getting comfortable with your firearm. And then I would love to hear your perspective on what you found was advantageous to you in that training, and what maybe you could have done without. Maybe like go back a year and tell yourself now what you wish you would have known then.
I think if I went back a year and told myself what to do, I would say go to the range more. Like, I don't think I would take anything out. I would just say go more. I have spent thousands of rounds with my firearm that I carry. And I love that gun. It was the first, I think it was the first firearm I actually bought for myself. And in fact, we just did a video about cleaning that same firearm last night. But I love carrying my gun. I think if I was going to go back and do it again, I would go to the range more. I would do more things right the first time. And by that, I mean, I had to make sure, I had to change the address on my driver's license. I had to get that goofy federal limit applies things taken off. I had to get the, what is it called? The Real ID. And that, I had to prove birth certificate. There was just so many little details that had absolutely nothing to do with firearms or any kind of training that I would have had up front done sooner.
Okay.
So I would have gone through and taken care of those issues sooner. I think another thing I would have done is just been more deliberate.
Sorry.
I would have been more deliberate with looking for a place to train. So you have to take a class in California. It is not a free state by any means. So you have to take, I think the minimum is 8 hours of training or something like that.
And I think they're upping it to 16.
Whatever. I would have maybe done a little bit more research in that. Now, I was kind of locked in because I am a pastor, so I'm not available on Sunday mornings like everybody else might be. I could have had somebody, cover my post for me at church, but I value that for my family. So most of the trainings were on the weekends. So it was you had to do a Saturday and a Sunday thing. And I was that's really difficult. So I found one in the area that was it great? No. Did it get the job done? Yeah. But I don't like walking into a class where I feel like I know more than the instructor.
Oh no.
And I kind of did on this one, but
oof magoof.
Yeah, I think I would just spend more time at the range. I watched a lot of training videos. So we've mentioned the Warrior Poet Society Network. I watched Pistol 1 and 2.
That's a really valuable resource.
Oh, it's incredible. I love the stuff that they put out. So John, if you're watching, hit us up, man.
Please.
But in addition to that, I probably would have done more classes. And I think this is where the next couple of years of my life will be spent, is actually taking classes in person, actual shooting courses where you're doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 5 day courses.
Oh, interesting.
To get better with your firearm.
Huh. Well, that's an interesting take on it.
Yeah. I think everybody can benefit from actual training. I think things like the Warrior Poets thing are great. There's a lot of great training on YouTube. But I think nothing beats sending rounds downrange with an instructor who knows more than you, who can correct the little things that you don't notice. And it's invaluable.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So diving into the world of firearms, what's been some of your favorite things to research, look into, and then what are some areas where you would like to grow into maybe the next year or so?
It's an interesting question. When I think about things that I like to research, I mean, obviously we all have our own proclivities when it comes to what kind of guns we like. And so we've mentioned before that he's a really big
AR-15, let's go.
Tactical guy. And I I think I've been around firearms enough to okay, I've got an AR, that's cool. I've got a pistol, that's cool. I've got a shotgun, that's cool. I love shotguns. I'm a huge shotgun fan. There's just something about the activities that go along with a shotgun that I freaking love. And so I think because I've been in it a long time and I've started to buy some of my own stuff, I can now start saying, okay, I don't want to just like buy the cheapest thing, or I don't want to buy the newest thing. I want to buy what I enjoy. And so for me, like I have a list on my phone of like the next couple of buys.
Gotcha.
And I want a well-rounded gun collection, right?
Okay.
So like I've got a semi-auto. Right now, I guess I've got a bolt gun. I've got a AR. I've got a shotgun. I've got pistols, but I don't have a lever action. So I want a lever action.
You don't have a lever action?
No, I want a lever action. I want a revolver because I like old things. And so also I love the juxtaposition of wood and metal together. And so like a lot of my collecting now will be firearms that are wood and steel at the same time, or wood and
aluminum,
metal, whatever their metal is. And then obviously there's like specialty rifles that I would love to have. Like I would love a dedicated deer gun or elk gun.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
I feel like if I were to branch out from ARs, which eventually I probably will.
You have to. There's more than ARs out there.
It would probably be shotguns or different kinds of marksman rifles. Like the Ruger Precision to me is so cool. I could nerd out over shotguns too, but I'm just like, okay, I have an AR that can do this, but do I have an AR that can do this?
Yeah.
Do I have an AR that can do this? ARs are supreme. They are. All right. So obviously we both have set the groundwork that we love guns. We love shooting.
Yep.
We think they're a great tool in assisting us with our pursuit of defense and protection and that sort of thing. Aside from guns and shooting, what are some things that, pique your interest?
So I'm not a straight up like prepper guy, but I will say like I'm not going to allow guns to be the only form of protection or provision for my family.
Okay.
Right? Like I want to make sure that I have food on hand. I want to make sure I have water on hand. I want to make sure I have supplies on hand so that if something goes down, well, we're taken care of as a family. But part of the mixture of those things is once you've shot something, what do you do with the meat? And if you're going to cook it, you might as well cook it, and it might as well be good. And so if it's going to be good, you might as well smoke it. And so I am a huge smoker. That sounds so bad.
I've been a pastor for 14 years, and I'm also a huge smoker.
I love to smoke meat. It's probably one of my favorite hobbies outside of firearms. I bought a Weber Smoky Mountain a couple years back, like 7 years ago, and just fell in love with it. I had a buddy of mine take me under his wing, and he taught me how to smoke meat, and I just fell in love with it. And so then once I kind of got really heavy into it, I sold my Weber, and I ended up buying a Traeger a few years ago. And
Creme de la creme.
well, you've had some of the fruit of the Traeger.
I have.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Creme de la creme.
It is good.
The New York strip with the onion jelly.
Bacon onion jam.
Bacon onion jam.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I've done pork belly burnt ends. I've done brisket. I've done pork shoulder. I have done ribs. I've done tri-tip. I've done New York strips. I've done ribeyes. I've done...
Easy, Tiger. I haven't had dinner yet.
I've done pastrami. I did prime rib for Christmas this year.
That was a good prime rib, too.
Yeah, I love the... I think what I really enjoy about most hobbies is the pursuit. Right, I want to constantly get better, and I really enjoy getting into the nitty gritty. So, like, why is this rub better than the other rub?
Because it tastes better.
Okay, but like, there's different. Like, I can season the same cut of meat 2 different ways and serve it on 2 different nights, and they both feel right. So,
That's
like,
interesting.
why do I need this for this setting?
Okay.
And then how do I make that taste better? And I can do it through the pellets that I'm using, the smoke that's put on there. I can do it by the seasonings, the binders. I can do it by the cut of meat, the grade of meat. Like, there's just so much that goes into it. I love all of
Jeez,
that.
dude.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Anything else that you do for funsies?
I wish I could say I'm like a huge collector. I'm not, but I enjoy watches. Yeah, I think they're a lot of fun. Again, it's mechanical, and so anything that like moves, I love to see how it works. And yeah, I think those are really special.
All right. How many watches do you have?
Like nice ones. I have at least 30.
Something that's not a Casio.
Somewhere around 30.
Wow. I counted a couple days ago, Sunday, because I was wearing a watch, and I'm up to, I think, 11.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. I think you wear what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be a watch snob. I hate watch snobs. They drive me up a wall. Like, do I appreciate a fine timepiece? Of course. But, like, don't belittle other people just because you have money and they don't.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about guns. I feel the same way about Traegers. I feel the same way about cars. Like, it doesn't matter. Just let people live.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. I mean, all my watches are actually fossils.
Oh, nice.
So, like, it's not a Rolex, but it's also not like, what the little calculators that you had in school that
those are making a comeback,
the
actually.
nerds had that made them feel cool. It didn't, but they thought it. Well, man, it's been good talking with you.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Get to know. I actually learned a couple things about you tonight that I didn't necessarily know.
Okay.
About you. So
well, there you go.
This has been fun.
Do us a favor. Would you please let us know in the comments, what do you want to see from us next? We are working on some other content that's not just podcast based, but we want to hear from you. What do you want to see from us? We've got some really good comments from some of our followers on Instagram, which, by the way, go hit us up on Instagram. We love seeing you there. And it's easier to ask questions, I feel, on Instagram because you can just like type in the answer real quick to a sticker. But if you haven't been checking out our shorts, please go check. That sounds so goofy. If you haven't seen them yet, go check out some of the YouTube shorts that we've been putting together. We're hoping to bring you some value in 30 seconds or less through those. But in the meantime, make sure you like and comment, subscribe. And if you disagree with me on something tonight, fight me in the comments. Let's go. Let's go.
And then hit the little notification bell. Ring ding ding.
I like it. Hey, remember, be safe and stay free. Yeah.
Do that. Be safe, stay free. Yeah.
I mean, it's better than the alternative, right?
Live fast, die hard. There's a lot of like generic endings that we could do there.
Live, laugh, love.
Too fast, too furious. I sound like freaking Woody, my squeaker.